In today's video, I wanted to share the 4 main elements that are necessary for successful flying lead changes, as well as how to go about developing them and work through some of the challenges you're likely to run into. This is .com, and we're in the middle of a lead change program, you could say. Now, your horse's athletic ability plays a big part in how well you'll be able to execute flying lead changes. I've had horses in the past who had very little in the way of training, and they could perform them very effortlessly. My barrel horse, Gelding, is not a natural lead changer, but through education and developed skill last year, I reached the personal goal of doing flying lead changes on him bridleless. And that's what my goal is for .com, but the challenges before us, in this case, are very different. .com is very, very sensitive, and I would even say more athletically gifted than Pistol. However, he has learned behaviors and assumptions that I have been working very hard to undo before a purposefully executed, nice, relaxed, pretty flying lead change would even be a remote possibility. I'm not looking to cheat my horse or help him or hold him in position in the end. And although I'll offer various types of support in the training process, there are a few foundational elements we must have. So to set myself and you up for success, I'll share that the first thing I'm looking to establish is complete relaxation. If my horse can't lope around in a nice, relaxed manner on a loose rein, then that has to be the first step, a quality lope. I first make sure that he understands and is educated to know that when I ride in a relaxed, slow way, that his job is to mirror me. If I just let all the life out of my body, and he should just stop. And if I slow down the rhythm of my seat, it should slow down the rhythm of his gait. So if he starts to get emotional and a little racy, I will use a lot of lateral sideways work like leg yields, moving the shoulder, disengaging the hindquarters in varying degrees, and bend to help counteract the impulsiveness, and then really praise him and give him relief and rest and comfort when he does relax. The next major element I am looking to establish is a very high level of connection and responsiveness. Now, .com is very quick but tends to be introverted, meaning that he's a little more of a thinker, and if he's not confident, this can slow down his response time as well. So my goal is for him to be able to respond lightning quick to my leg as I ask for a lope departure while still staying relaxed about it. A lot of times speed event horses associate speed and doing anything fast with anxiety, and so it's up to us to empower them to have the degree of emotional fitness necessary for them to think and respond to us very quickly without reacting or just running away from the pressure or cue. I need to be able to use my legs to influence his body position without having him make an assumption and squirting out away from under me. This has been a gradual process where I have almost had to purposely desensitize him to my legs in the process of re-educating him that the meaning of my leg depends on what my body is doing. For example, if I raise the life in my body and I get really intense and start fanning his sides, that means go now. But if I'm just loping along in a relaxed, collected frame, and I don't increase the life in my focus in my body in that way, and then he should know that when I ask for a left lead with my right leg, it means to yield his hip and not take off or get tense. Now, there's a lot of going back and forth, which can be hard because we just want to go straight to the top. But when we feel our horse getting impulsive or reactive or emotional and anxious, we have to go back and get the confidence and relaxation again before going forward. That always has to be the priority we fall back on. The third major element I want to talk about is the degree of body control that must be established. I want to be able to yield my horse's body parts all over and while in motion, meaning at the walk, trot, and lope. I want to be able to yield my horse's rib cage for a nice full body bend, but I need to be able to yield laterally and have them stay very straight for lead changes. Again, this depends on my horse paying attention to cues from my body and focus as well as my leg pressure. If I want to bend in a circle or side pass, I may use very similar leg pressure, but my horse knows the difference is based on my body language, and although I do use spurs, I don't ever want to depend on them, meaning it's my job to teach my horse and any horse to respond very lightly to my leg. I'll link to another post below where I went through the steps for educating or refining your horse's response to your leg. One exercise that has been really beneficial to me in preparation for lead changes is side passing one direction, very straight, and then very quickly side passing the other way. It's so helpful because it mimics the movement and degree of quick responsiveness you'll need to execute the lead change. Although your horse might need a lot of bend to overcome the impulsiveness, keep in mind that it's super important that you work on keeping your horse's body very straight, because dropping a shoulder or leaning or getting out of position or off balance will really get in your way. I mentioned earlier that .com was impulsive, meaning that he tends to have a lot more go than whoa. And that's just a symptom of unbalanced emotions. When he's educated and truly relaxed, my expectation is that he have an equal amount of whoa and go. So it's always something I'm evaluating and bringing back to center. Now, it's super important that once you have a relaxed, collected lope established on a loose rein, that you don't allow your horse to lethargically just dog it around the arena. You really need some forward momentum, and the hind legs need to be working to power, propel, and balance the body with plenty of forward motion to pull off the flying lead change. It does take some energy. If you ask for a good, round, energetic lope and your horse gets tense or anxious, again, go back and work through that so that your horse has at least a beginner ability to move at a moderate speed lope without getting racy and anxious and impulsive about it. Lastly, I wanted to share one of my favorite and most effective exercises I found for lead changes that I got from a Horse and Rider article with Bob Avila years ago. And I have found it and actually linked to it below. In it, he puts two poles on the ground about 2 horse lengths apart, and then he 2 tracks at a lope through the space in the poles. And then once he gets on the other side, he asks for the lead change in the other direction. Now there's something about that pole, that second pole, that acts as a visual reference of support, I guess, to help keep the horse stay elevated and make it more obvious what you're doing. Bob also emphasized, and I agree, that we should never use a change of direction in an attempt to facilitate a flying change, which often only causes our horses to drop their shoulder and get out of position. As a warm-up to this exercise, it's great to have your lope departure refined, and you can even ask for some sideways steps at a walk or trot one direction, and then switch the leg pressure you're putting on to lope off in the other way. So there you have it, 4 steps and my all-time favorite lead change exercise. the kind of horse that makes something like this very, very challenging. People might have been able to get by on this horse, but because I'm really serious about being the best I can be and I want the best for my horses, that's not part of how I operate. I do things most other people don't do because I want to go places that most other people don't go and achieve levels of barrel racing success unlike many others. And my hope is that this video helps you